Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, so today I've got the Hubsan Zino and the Mavic Mini. Now this is the original Hubsan Zino. It's not the Zino 2 that everybody is talking about now and that is starting to get in the hands of the consumers more commonly. This is the original Zino, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to compare these two drones because they both kind of fall into that category of entry level. In other words, somebody that is interested in video, photography drones, either one of these products may be the first thing they ever pick up. So that'd be interesting to throw them up in the air and kind of compare the pluses and minuses of both of them. And they both fit into that situation where there's pluses on some, minuses on others. So let's get them in the air and let's show you the differences between the two. Obviously this one, the Hubsan Zino, the original Hubsan Zino, can be had for about 250 bucks. This guy's about $150 more at $399. But I think in some ways they compare pretty favorably. So let's throw them in the air and we'll look them over. Okay, I've got the Hubsan Zino ready to go. We're going to do a hand launch here, so that's pretty easy. I'm going to hold it in my left hand, hold it up, hold the controller in my right hand, and with my thumb I'm going to hit the takeoff button and the drone will simply lift off out of my hand. That's simple. So let's bring it down and get a good look at it here. Okay, we'll bring it in here just a little. It's a nice, reasonably calm day today. And let's do a quick yaw around. I'm going to back it off just a little bit. Drone's moving around some, which is typical for the Zino. So let's do a quick yaw. We'll see it move around, I think, a little bit during the yaw. That's typical. Okay, so we're good. I'm going to start recording now. I'm going to stop for a second. Let's look at I want to show you the menu here. So video resolution, we're in 4K. Frame rate, we're in 30 frames per second. It will not go into 60. You're getting a battery drains too quickly warning. That's almost a new battery, so I don't know what that is. That's something I've noticed since the upgrade in this app to 3.8.2. Anyway, white balance, we're on sunny day, and you can see the drone kind of drifted away there. We'll see if we can bring it back into frame here a little bit, but it was drifting away. Color ordinary, and it's dropping now. Okay, I'm going to back it up. That's the thing about this Zino. It is not the steadiest drone you ever met. So we're going to do a droning. I'm going to start recording, and we're going to do reverse and up right now, backwards and up. Sorry there, I yawed a little bit. I was trying to drop the camera at the same time. Okay, so yeah, we're at about 55 meters high, roughly 177 or 78 meters away. It's showing 58% battery, which that just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, let's quit messing around here. I'm going to go over to the opposite corner of the park, and what we want to do here is we want to pay attention to video quality. We're shooting in 4K 30. And I want to show you the speed of this drone too. So I'm going to hit full stick forward now. and you'll see it get up to about 8 meters per second, which is you know, roughly 18 or 19 miles an hour. And as soon as we get out there, we will we'll turn it around and we'll flip it into sport mode. We'll go out about 200 meters or so here. Probably overshoot it just a little. Yep, 202 meters. And like I said, we got up to about 8 meters per second there. So let me turn it around. And head it back towards where I'm at. And we're going to be looking right into the sun. So I'm going to drop the gimbal down just a little bit. So there we are right there. I am going to drop the gimbal just a hair. Get us kind of centered there. I'm going to switch it into sport mode. You'll see that on the screen. And we are going to go full stick forward. And you'll see we're in sport mode, but it doesn't change a thing. We get up to, yeah, about 8 meters per second, 8.1. So I'm going to stop it right there. It's not over the top of us yet. We're going to drop some altitude here, and let's bring it in, and let's look at some of the intelligent flight modes. Okay, so one of the first things to look at when we click on that little X that's up in the corner, and that gets us into all the different flight modes. And we're in normal mode right now. We're going to click on hyperlapse, which is new, but it's going to tell me please update aircraft image software. And I have the newest firmware for the camera, so I assume that that must only apply to the Zino Pro, because it doesn't seem to work for this guy. And I've tried it a few times. I've messed around with it a little bit. So let's go back in there again. Waypoint mode. So we're not going to do a waypoint mission, but you can do waypoint planning, and you can load a plan from memory on here, which is kind of a handy thing. That's something that the Mavic Mini does not have, that this drone has. At 250 bucks, you can fly a waypoint mission, and I've done it before, and I can tell you it works well. So let's get out of that, and let's go back in there again. Next one down is orbit mode, and this one is really handy, and it does it, the Mavic Mini has it, but this does it a little bit better. You can either set your transmitter as the center, or you can set a point of interest as the center. So we don't have time to do both of them, but we're going to do it once here with the transmitter as the center. So next step, and it works the same as both of them. When we're far enough away, execute immediately. I'm going to speed it up so it moves along pretty good. And the drone is circling us. And unlike the Mavic Mini, which is totally optical based, this thing is centering on the GPS on the controller, so it can lose me behind something and still complete its orbit just fine. So like I said, or you can do it optical with the point of interest mode too. So let's as soon as it gets back over here, let's stop that. So let's go back into the menu here, and so we did orbit mode. Following mode. Now the following mode is really interesting on this guy. You can do it either with active track or follow me. We're down to 40% battery, so we better get going here. But the follow me mode will do it via GPS. It'll compare the GPS on the phone with the drone, and it works. I've done it before. It'll track you, but let me show you the active track mode. So we're going to hit active track. Let's see if it'll do it with me this far away. It did. It's got me. So we're going to click go, and you'll see the drone. I'm pushing it backwards now, and we can follow it. It'll follow me. It's keeping me right in center of frame. which is exactly what you want to do. So let's move back the other way. And the drone is just following me perfectly. All right, so let's get out of that. We're going to click stop, and we exited active track. So let's go into that menu again, and we're going to see creative video. This one is such a disappointment to me. So from the very beginning with this drone, we've had that fly to sky, which I believe is a rocket, orbit shot. I'm not sure what that is because we had orbit mode, but then panorama, which sounds pretty cool, but it's not as cool as what you think. It's just basically a 360-degree rotation of the drone. It just yaws around. Well, you can set it 360 degrees or however percentage of that circle you want it to make, and it'll just take a picture. So we'll do that real quick. And you can do clockwise or counterclockwise. We're going to go clockwise, and you can see it's just circling the drone. And I'm not going to waste your time with the whole 360 here. I'm going to click stop, and but you get the point of what that is. So let's spin it back around here. I mean, that's something that you could very easily do just with the controller, but it also stops recording. So I'll start recording again. Let's go back into that menu. The last trick is line fly. So now I want you to notice one thing. With the previous version of this app, below line fly mode, it had a VR mode, which I'm not sure. I've never heard of anybody using VR goggles with this drone. But anyway, I'm going to demonstrate line fly real quick here before we lose battery. So I'm going to put it, and we're going to go 90 degrees. See if I can hit that right on the money. There we go. And we're going to go out 50 meters, and we're going to go at top speed and preview flight route. Now the drone should just fly sideways here. So I'm going to get some more altitude here, just so make sure we clear everything. Execute immediately. Yeah, it's not going to let me, with the battery level as low as it is, it's not going to let me do that. But the drone would simply go sideways. So let's get out of there. Okay, yeah, you can see the drone there. So basically all we're going to do is I'm going to grab the drone from the side, pull this left stick down, and we're going to land. And it actually started its own landing anyway because of low battery. So what I will say is that thing was absolutely right. It drained the battery really fast, and I don't know what that's about. This battery has, gosh, maybe 5 cycles on it, 5 or 6 cycles on it is at the most. So kind of interesting. And like I said, I started noticing that with this last app update. So in any case, let me shut it down, and we'll get out the Mavic Mini and we'll take it out for a flight. One more thing I'm going to mention is I turned off video just then on the Hubsan Zino. You need to remember to do that, because if you shut down the drone before you stop video, you'll just end up with a corrupted file, and you'll have to figure out a way to recover it. Okay, we've got the little Mavic Mini all hooked up and ready to go. We're going to hand launch it too. I'm going to start recording now. Well, you know what? I'll wait till we're in the air because I want to show you the video menu on this one too. So in other words, to hand launch this guy, it's a little different than the Zino. I hold it in my right hand, and I kind of balance the controller on my arm here because it kind of takes 2 hands. You've got to hit that takeoff button in the middle of the FPV screen, but it's pretty easy really. So I'm going to hit the takeoff button and then hold the middle button down till the circle completes, and it will just take off out of your hand that easy. So let me get on the other side of the camera here. So as you can see with this guy, it is oh so much more stable than the little Zino. I'm going to put it into C mode here so that we're good in cinematic. Cinematic is the slowest mode on this thing, so I have enough confidence I can bring this one in a little closer. Nice and stable. We got a little breeze going, but it's still nice and stable. And I also want to point out that it has downward facing optical flow and infrared sensors, so it knows what's underneath it. I put my hand under there, and you saw the drone rise, so it knew something was down there, and it's getting up out of the way. But let's do a quick yaw around here so you can see it yaw. And again, this is in cinematic mode, so it's a fairly slow yaw. But it's nice and smooth. It just stays in place. That is DJI flight controls, let me tell you. So I want to quickly here show you, well, I'm going to back it off just a little so we don't have all the prop noise here. So I want to show you the camera functions. So I'm in video mode right now. I click on that little film strip, and I see 2.7K and 1080p. So in 2.7K, I have the choice between 30 frames per second or 25 frames per second. If I click on 1080, I've got more choices in frame rate, 25, 30, 50, and 60. I'll be honest with you, I always shoot in 2.7K and 30 frames per second, so we're going to leave it there. So the only other thing that you can do, well, let's see, I guess I should, yeah, you can change your exposure value if you wish down here at the bottom. If I click on that, you can see the exposure values. I can go up and down, and if I click on that little padlock next to it, I can lock that so it doesn't change. But let's go look in there again, and in photography mode, you have a few more choices. I've got it in auto right now, but you have that same EV, and you can change, if you change it out of auto, you can change shutter speed, ISO, and there you have that. So oh, you also, I should point out, you have single shot or time shot in photography mode. But we're going to go back to video, and we've got it in 2.7K, 30 frames per second. Let's get out of there. Let's start video now. So we clicked on video, we are recording, and we are going to do a droney with this guy too. So backwards and up. Now I'm going to drop the gimbal just a little bit before we even start, so reverse. You know what? I'm sorry about that false start. I want to put it in P mode. So we got it in P mode, reverse and up. We wanted it to go a little bit faster. And we're going to go the same distance that we did roughly with the Hubsan Zino. Get about 50 meters in height, and about, I don't know, I think we were out there roughly 100, yeah, that's pretty close, 170 meters, whatever. So that's darn close to where we were with the Zino. Let me pick up the gimbal just a little bit, rule of thirds, because I want you to see that we have a nice stable flat horizon with this drone as well. That's another nice feature of this drone as well as the Zino. They both do a great job with the horizon, nice and flat. So we're going to go back to that same corner of the park that we went with the Zino, and there again I want you to pay attention to video quality. We were shooting in 4K 30 with the Zino, and with this guy we're shooting in 2.7K 30. And let's pay attention to the speed. We are in P mode, so it should get up to about a little over 8 meters per second, which is about the same as the Zino. That's going to translate to roughly 18 or 19 miles an hour. And very smoothly, it executes it very, very smoothly. There we are, right about that 8 meters per second. Yeah, a little bit of signal interference. There's a spot there. I've had that show up before like that. So I think we were out there about a little over 200 meters with the Zino, so we're about the same now. So what you're seeing off in the distance there is you're seeing the Boise foothills and Boise front. Bogus Base and Ski Hill is on the top of that. You know, not very far from downtown Boise, but let's yaw around. And again, we're in P mode now. We're going to throw it in sport mode on the way back. And this drone actually does have a sport mode on it. So you'll see it go quite a lot faster. And since we're going into the sun, again, I'm going to drop the gimbal down. And so we're going to click it once in the top left corner. You can see it in S mode there. And I'm going to go full stick forward. And I want you to pay attention to the speed there. We'll get up to probably 11 or 12, maybe even 13 meters per second. So full stick forward now. And there again, you could pay attention to video quality on this guy too. And there is a, I'm standing between the drone and a picnic shelter. Well, I lied to you. We didn't get going that fast. So I don't know if I was going into a headwind there or what, but typically it goes a little faster. So just for the fun of it, I'm going to go back the other direction again. Let's try that one more time. I expected a little bit more speed out of it. So we're going to go back into that corner. Whoop, yeah, just a little faster. I'm in sport mode. So we're going to go full stick forward now. Yeah, we must have had a headwind because there you're seeing, you know, 9.5. We had, yeah, 10 meters per second, a little over 10. Yeah, and I'm kind of blocked here. I'm kind of blocked by this picnic shelter, this metal roof. So let's go ahead and bring it back here. Yawing it back around again. But the point that I was trying to make there is that the drone actually does have a sport mode on it. And you can see that increase in speed. And yeah, we must be going against the wind here. You know, it's got up to about 8.5 meters per second. Let's put it back into, let's put it in C mode. And we're gonna see if we can't arc our way around here. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna look at some of the intelligent flight modes on the drone. We're at 61% battery, so we got plenty of battery to do that. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to have to take the drone out of video mode. So I'm going to shut off video now. And then we click on that same icon, that little film strip icon at the top. And right below video, you'll see what looks like a film reel. And it's called Quick Shot. And that's the intelligent flight modes on this drone. And it's got just a few. So it doesn't have as many of those modes as we saw on the Hubsan Zino, but it does have a few tricks up its sleeve. So we'll take a look at those real quick. So you'll see the first one at the top of the list is the droning, and it gives us a selection of distances from 25 meters up to 40 meters. And so we're going to try the 40 meter one. And what I found with this drone is the closer to it that you are, the more effective it is in executing those maneuvers. So let's give it a shot here. So I'm going to click on the plus sign. It's already got me located with a plus, and I'm just going to click start, and it's going to give us a countdown, and then it's going to execute the maneuver. So it's starting its droney, and you know, that's what we did at one of the very first things we did when we started out. We did a manual droney and obviously went a lot further. This thing will only go 40 meters. One of the cool things about it is, as soon as it completes the task, it stops recording, but it's going to come right back to its starting position. Pretty handy. So as soon as it comes back, you'll see that red X go away. And by the way, you can stop it at any time by tapping on that red X. So we're going to click on that icon again, and let's look at the next one we're going to look at is rocket. So we're going to click on rocket. And then there again, just hit that plus sign and hit start. And I can't remember how many feet I selected on that rocket, if I selected the full amount or what, but we'll see it here. And that little white circle you see going around the red X is how far into the task it is. And once it completes that circle, it means the task is complete. And by the way, you can stop it at any time by hitting that red X. Just tap that red X and it'll stop it. And now, just like it did in the other maneuver, it's going to return back to where it started. So there it is, and it's just hovering back where it started. So let's go back into that menu again, and we're going to do a circle. In order to do that, I need to get a little bit further out into the field because we're kind of close to some things here, and I don't want it to run into anything. So let me grab the GoPro, and we'll go out in the field here a little bit. Okay, so I'm kind of trying to hold the GoPro and run the controller at the same time. Yeah, I'm going to go further out in the field here, folks. Because the drone does not have any obstacle avoidance, you know, it'll actually run into something if you're not paying attention. So we're in circle mode. Yeah, I'm going to drop the gimbal down here just a little, and it's going to go clockwise. You can see by that arrow below me, and I'm going to hit the plus sign. And when I hit start, it'll give us a countdown. And it will circle us in a clockwise rotation. 3, 2, 1. And it starts recording as it does that. And as soon as it completes its 360-degree circle, it's going to stop. And there you are. Pretty simple. Okay, so we got one more trick left. Sorry guys, I'm trying to hold the camera and, like I said, run the controller at the same time. And so this is similar to the circle, but the drone will raise in altitude and also move out further in distance at the same time. So I'm going to hit the start button. This is really a fun one. I like this. I've also got it set for clockwise. 3, 2, 1. And you'll see it starts slowly at first, and then it'll gain speed as it goes. And you'll see it increases its distance and altitude at the same time. And it will essentially do, again, a 360 around us. And you can see it's moving at a pretty good speed, pretty good clip now. And then it's completed it. And it's going to return to where it started. And there again, you can stop it at any time just by hitting that red X. So that's about it. Let's go back to the other camera, and we'll bring the drone in. And we'll do a hand catch. Okay, so I'm going to go back into video mode here, 2.7K, and you can see video 2.7K, 30 frames per second. I'm going to start video again now. Pick up the gimbal here just a little bit, and we'll bring it in, and we're just going to do a hand catch here. We're in C mode, which is a good mode to start out in. If this is your first drone, C mode is a good place to start because the drone is fairly slow then. So let's get it in front of the camera here a little, raise a little altitude. So because this guy has downward facing sensors, you kind of have to fool it a little bit. So you have to start it in landing mode and put your hand underneath it. It'll recognize your hand and just simply land in your palm. And to put it in landing mode, you just simply are dropping the left stick down. So I'm going to get behind it and put it in landing mode. And as you can see there, the drone, as soon as it saw my hand, it just landed. So and shut off the motors as soon as it landed. So so let me get everything shut down here, and we'll do a real just a quick conclusion on what our observations were. By the way, I will mention on this one too, just like the Zino, you want to shut off recording, which I did just now. If you don't and you shut off the drone while it's recording, you'll get a file that's not finished, a corrupted file. Now, unlike the Zino, it's very easy to repair on this one. So if that ever happens to you, simply turn the drone back on, turn on the controller, start a recording, let it record for just a couple of seconds, turn it off, and it will close out that file, and then it will also close out the previous file and recover that file for you. So just a little tip. Okay, so by now you've seen the comparison between the video quality of the Hubsan Zino and the Mavic Mini. Yeah, the Zino shoots in 4K 30 frames per second, and this is 2.7K 30 frames per second. But I'm telling you, for my money, the Mavic Mini definitely punches way above its weight class, and the 2.7K video looks really good out of this thing. Not that the Zino is bad, I'm just saying that the Mini looks really good. Now, when you talk about features, yeah, I think the Zino, you know, it has a few more intelligent flight modes that are really handy, particularly that orbit mode where you can do it either with the controller as the point of interest or set a point of interest. You can fly it out there, set a point of interest, and orbit it. Not so easy with this guy. It uses optical for its point of interest and is very limited in range and what it will recognize. And what I've found is when you have it out at distance, it often doesn't do that full orbit. It will do a full orbit, but not it doesn't center itself well, I guess is a better way to say that. That's just been my experience. The intelligent flight modes on this thing, while they work well if you use them within their parameters that they're designed for, you don't have as many, you can't do as many things with them as say you can with the Zino. Now the Zino also has waypoint missions that you can do, and we didn't do one, but I can tell you they work really well. I've done it before. You can set altitude, which way you want the thing to point, etc. So that's pretty handy. And the little Mini does not have any of that. This has a rocket mode and a helix mode that you don't get with this one, and they're pretty cool features. I like that. That's a plus for the Mini. This thing has line fly mode, which can be handy if you're trying to fly sideways in front of something and you want to be controlling your gimbal and your camera. And you can also yaw while it's doing that. So that can be a good feature when you're trying to focus on getting a shot and not on flying the drone. So you know, pluses and minuses with both these products. Now, what you saw with the Mini is how much better it flies. You saw how much steadier it was in the air. This guy was moving around. I had trouble just getting it close to the camera because it does not have any downward sensors on it like the Mini does. So the only way it knows where it's at in space is a barometer and GPS, where this guy has got the infrared and the optical flow sensor, and it works very, very well. And DJI flight controls are second to none. This guy is faster. I'm not saying it's more powerful, I'm saying it's faster. When you put it in sport mode, it will fly faster than this one. The difference in price, again, you know, that's always worth mentioning. You can pick this thing up commonly for $250. This guy, you're going to pay $400 for it with one battery. Now, the other thing that's worth mentioning is you also saw the problems that we had with the battery on this guy. And that's a new battery I have in there. So that's a problem with the algorithm in the drone, although it also seemed to draw that battery down pretty quick. And I've really noticed that since the last update of the app. So not sure what's going on there. No such problems with the Mavic Mini. You know, if you bought a new one, you may not have those battery problems. I can tell you it could be my drone specifically, because this thing, I've flown it a lot and it's over a year old. So who knows? It could be something specific to my drone. But I'm going to say that you are going to have more issues from time to time to work through with the Hubsan Zino than you are with the DJI Mavic Mini. In any case, you know, I'll let you guys look at the video and make your own decision. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, and if I had to pick one, if they said, Marcus, you can only have one drone or the other, no contest, it would be the Mavic Mini. Just simply because of how well it flies. The flight controls are just superb. It's so easy to control and make it do what you want it to do. This guy not so much. As you saw, it kind of moves around in space a little bit. Doesn't mean it's a bad drone. I've had a ton of fun with this guy, and I've got some really good footage with it. I'm going to have to figure out that battery issue, because I think as it is, it's pretty tough. You saw we didn't get a lot of flight time there. This thing, they advertise 30 minutes flight time. I can tell you from experience, you're easily going to get 22 to 25 minutes easy. This guy not so much. So that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. But most of all, I really appreciate you taking the time to look at this video, and we absolutely will see you on the next one. So cool, good time. Hubsan Zino, DJI Mavic Mini. See you later.